Okay, sweet. So, great. Massage therapist for 7 years, mother of one, is that correct?
Correct.
That's enough, right?
Oh, yeah.
For all the mothers that are on here that have 3 and 4 and 5 kids, they're like, yeah, one. So no, actually, I've heard that it's easier once you hit like 3 or 4 because they all entertain each other and they aren't so dependent on you. So maybe it is a little easier to have one, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so how long have you been using? You've been a massage therapist for 7 years. You wanted to talk about muscle recovery and massage today, which is going to be really nice, especially for those of you who are in this group who struggle with maybe some. I'm being careful about wording. Struggle with some things in your life that deal with the joints, muscles, occasional aches and pains, discomfort, inflammatory response. We're going to talk about that today. And Gray is a great person to talk to because she not only is a massage therapist, she really enjoys what she does. Every time we get together, she's always bringing something up, or we're talking at least for a couple minutes about oils, what oils she uses for whatever when she has somebody on the table. So if you do go and get massages on a regular basis, you should be bringing an oil with you. And maybe you'll have one picked out by the time this talk is over today, because you should be bringing essential oils in with you to your massages if your therapist is not using them, and tell your therapist they should start using them. Because it's not just about muscle recovery, it's also about the emotional support. I'm sure you'll talk about that too, Gray. So, Gray, really quick, I'm going to ask you a few questions before we get started, because we'll try to keep this not too long today, because people tend to lose interest if you stay on the video too long.
Okay.
How long have you been using doTERRA essential oils?
I started using doTERRA specifically in 2016. That was the year that I was actually finishing up massage school. So it all kind of came together at the same time.
Nice. And what would you say when you look back at all the years since you've been using doTERRA oils, would you say that there's this aha moment when you started using oils? Did you ever have this aha moment, like these things really are amazing and they really help and they really make a big difference in our lives?
Yeah, absolutely. So I typically am more of like a sports therapist, but I can do all types of massage. But I think for me, my biggest aha moment with the oil specifically was during a lymphatic drainage massage. I've worked with a lot of people like post-op. You have the anesthesia, and sometimes the body has a hard time recovering from that. And so I absolutely love working with women specifically who've had like C-sections, and also the lymphatic drainage. So that's not necessarily what I do every day as like sports, but everything were really like, wow, using like the lymphatic drainage massage. So
What about for you personally, when you started using the oils in your own life, aside from just massage, did you ever have this moment where you're just like, oh my God, like personally? Yeah. Can you share that aha moment?
Yes, sorry about that. It actually probably does have to do with recovery. The Deep Blue was probably my biggest aha moment, because I've always been like an athlete of some sort. And in my adult years, it was more like powerlifting, and I love to do like a lot of hiking and camping.
I had no idea you power lifted. You never told me that.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm not fast, but I'm strong. So for me, like the Deep Blue has been just a crucial part of my day to day, because if my body is sore, then I can't do my job. I can't be a good mom. So yeah, the Deep Blue for me was really like, okay, this is good stuff.
Yeah, that was my big aha moment too. I mean, it's interesting that we're talking about Deep Blue today. That was my first use. I thought I was going to have knee surgery many years ago, and I've told this story so many times, but Deep Blue will always have that special place in my heart with oils and which of course changed the trajectory of my life because I was in a completely different career. And if it wasn't for Deep Blue, and healing my knee and never having surgery, whatever it was 13 years ago when they wanted to go in and reconstruct my knee.
Wow.
And some people still hear that story and they're like, doesn't make any sense. You had it ripped, whatever, your knee was messed up, but my experience is my experience. It cut the inflammation down. My knee was able to heal. I've never had surgery. I don't have major issues with my knee anymore. And that was over 10 years ago. So
No, that's amazing.
yeah.
The body will heal itself. So
Yeah. I'm making sure you have, it looks like you're frozen here. Let's just take a second here. Are you back? I'm gonna make sure we don't lose you here.
okay, you got me. Okay, yeah, no.
It's slow still right now, still lagging really bad. Let's give it a minute here. It's okay, no big deal. We have nice people in the group, they'll be patient. Later on, I can edit this part out. Let's just make sure you're back with us. Okay, it looks like your signal has come back. Are you there?
Okay. Yes, got me? Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Now, my next question, number 3. Do you remember for another person that you were helping with oils or a story you've heard? Do you remember a testimonial that you'll never forget? Something that happened for someone health-wise with the oils that sticks in your head and you're like, it's one of those stories you share with people, and it comes up and it's just, you probably told the story over and over. Do you have one of those that you can remember?
I do. My most powerful story was actually a few months ago. One of my clients referred his brother for a sports massage, and I was talking to him, and he's telling me about his girlfriend who'd been in a car accident and was paralyzed on half of her body. Tremendous pain. And he's like, do you think that a lot of people are afraid to work with her? And I was like, I'm not afraid. Like, please, let's get her on the table. Let's see what we can do to give her a better quality of life. And so I gave her a massage, and I was, first time I'm working with her, I'm kind of feeling her out. She's dealing with like a lot of medical issues. And I was like, are you comfortable if I try some oils? Because, some people aren't open to that, especially like when they have so many medical issues. And she was like, absolutely, I'll try anything. So I grabbed my Copaiba. Copaiba and Deep Blue are like my top 2 that are always on my shelf in my office. And I just put like 3 drops up and down her spine and did kind of like an aroma touch thing to work the oils in. And I would just like focus on areas where she had the pain. And then her left arm is her left side is paralyzed, but her left arm is just constantly balled up. I was able to like relax her hand, put some Copaiba in her palm, and I could feel her body just relax. I have goosebumps. Like, it was one of the most rewarding moments of my career, hands down, especially to like combine massage and oils together. And she now uses Copaiba every day, and she's been able to get away from some of the pain medicines. And because her pain medicines were making her so groggy, and she has small children, so that has been like my most amazing moment ever, to combine my 2 favorite things that I love and help someone so much. So yeah, well, I get pretty nerdy about it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that when it comes to people being in pain, if you're someone here in the group that loves to share with other people, and you want to give them an experience that typically they'll be able to tell pretty quickly, because not everything, if you've been dealing with, anxiety for years and years and years, yes, you might experience some relief that first time you try the oil, but when it comes to Deep Blue or Copaiba, if someone's in a lot of pain, usually if you give them a sample right there and have them put it on within 5 minutes. Usually they're going to be able to tell the difference. So if you're here and you love to share, or maybe you're building a business with doTERRA and you want to know what is something that I could always carry with me that really people can tell the difference pretty quickly. That's the nice thing about using Copaiba and Deep Blue, is they're pretty quick, right? I mean, it doesn't take that long for it to really start kicking in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So some people have a hard time with this question, even though it's really, I made it a little easier because I'm going to ask you for your favorite 3 oils, not just one. So you probably don't have one. Do you have a favorite 3 oils and or products, doTERRA products that you like to use, like top 3 that you use on a daily basis?
Yes. So I'm going to include my personal favorite as well. I diffuse Breathe all day long, just because I have sinus issues, and it is just such a nice, like, to walk into the office and smell it. It's a great setting. But also because, like, a lot of times when my clients are laying face down for me to work on their back, and then they flip over, they're congested. So Breathe is a super nice touch. I know that that's not a massage specific, but that's really important to, like, set the atmosphere in my office, and also, like, help people, like, not feel so congested. But then my other top 2 would definitely be Deep Blue and Copaiba. Those are not the only oils I use in my office, but those are my go-to. And then, of course, I use the Deep Blue rub at the end of my sessions if people are interested in that, because I love it. So,
well, even being a massage therapist, some people don't realize how much toll that takes on your body every single day. Like a chiropractor, when you're working on people all day long or multiple times a week, that's a lot of work on yourself, right? Absolutely. Looks like you're frozen again.
yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
Wi-Fi issues. Okay, awesome. So in terms of the oils we're going to highlight today, thank you for answering hopefully they weren't too hard questions. You picked a few to share with us, some benefits of and what you use them for, and feel free at any point to share any examples. But what were the main ones you wanted to highlight today in terms of using it with massage and also for muscle recovery?
Okay, great. Okay, I'm a visual person, Charlie. AromaTouch. AromaTouch is actually the massage blend. So if you just need, I actually put this in my oil, like in my cream. So if you just want to come in and you want to promote some circulation, some light lymphatic drainage, because a massage is naturally going to do lymphatic drainage without doing specific manipulations. But the AromaTouch is just going to incorporate relaxation, feel good, circulation. It's just an all around good old massage blend. It's lavender, peppermint, basil, marjoram. I'm forgetting something. Cypress.
You remembered more than I would have.
I mean, I use it every day, so to be fair. Cypress, by the way, like, cypress is a fantastic oil because cypress is the oil of motion. And I do throw that in sometimes, but I'll focus on my main 3 now so I don't overwhelm.
When you say cypress, you said cypress is the oil of motion. Is that what you said? Can you go into that? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm curious because I've never heard anybody call it the oil of motion. That's awesome.
So you've heard of the terms like frozen shoulder, where, like, I guess, like, it's basically where your muscles are just so tight that you have a hard time. So the cypress actually does help to penetrate the muscle area. When you have, like, a muscle issue, it can be anything from your body's not properly aligned, so you're not moving properly, or you've overworked it, or you're right or left dominant, scar tissue, adhesions. And so the fascia that holds our muscles together, it can kind of for lack of better words, bind up, if you will, which is where your lymphatic drainage comes in, drinking lots of water, stretching, moving daily. So the cypress is really going to help and get in there. It's a great oil to put like on your joints. If your joints feel stiff, you can make a roller with like cypress and copaiba and like roll that on your joints.
Yeah, so you're saying that the cypress really is helpful for also moving lymph, like any kind of stagnancy in the body, joint wise. And also I've heard a lot of people have had some success with using cypress as well as some grapefruit, but cypress as well when they have water retention issues in their ankles, right? So they have swelling of the ankles. So I'm sure there's some people in here who probably dealt with that as well. I'm sure you use Aroma Touch for that sort of thing. Is that right?
Yes, grapefruit is a for retention. So if that's an issue there, I would definitely throw like for water retention specifically, like grapefruit, cypress, cilantro. That's a great combo for swelling and water retention.
And when we're finished at some point today, Gray, I know you have another appointment after our talk today, but if you can throw in the comments on the live video some of these combos that we're talking about, like water retention, if you can share that in the comments for people, because I know some people, you know, I'm not actually in the Facebook chatting right now, but if you can throw that into the comments for people, because people will really appreciate that, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. I'll throw in some of my favorite blends for like water retention, scar tissue, lymphatic drainage, and then, you know.
Yeah. So Aroma Touch, back to the Aroma Touch. So you're using that specific, do you use that in every single massage, or do you do that for specific issues?
I have a couple of clients who don't want any type of fragrance at all. I respect that. So I have a plain lotion, and then I have a lotion, which is my Aroma Touch specifically. So unless someone requests no fragrance, I mean, not that this is a fragrance, but you know, they don't want to leave my office smelling like anything. So unless they specify, excuse me, that they don't want to smell, the Aroma Touch is just a good go-to, even if it's a sports massage, because it's still going to promote the circulation. The Aroma Touch is it's the massage blend, but it's the oil of relaxation for emotions. So not only does it promote a peace in the physical body, it's also going to promote a peace in the mental. So if you are getting tension headaches, if you are extremely overwhelmed, Aroma Touch is good for the body, but it's also good to just quiet the mind.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. And sorry, go ahead. I didn't interrupt
you. It helps me to, if I'm having a stressful day, like I always ground myself before I walk into my office with my client. And it's one of those that will help with that. There's a lot of different oils that are good for grounding, but using the Aroma Touch on my hands and being able to smell it just helps me to dial in mentally.
Well, you know, one of the things I have learned over the many years of using oils is just how connected our physical issues are to our emotions and our stress levels, right? So when it comes to cypress, you're talking about the oil of movement. If I'm having an issue with stagnant emotions, and I need to move some emotion, or I have lymph that's backed up, typically that's connected to unaddressed issues that need to move, right? You need to release. I'm sure you see that on the massage table as well, right?
Yes. And also too, like, I mean, energy, we're made of energy. And so am I grounding myself before I touch someone is important, because I love and care for all of my clients so deeply. But when I finish with my client, I don't want to take on their burden. And so I want to help them while I can, but, you know, grounding yourself is also a way of protecting yourself too. So and the deep blue, the emotions associated with the deep blue, which we'll get to, those are super powerful as well. So yeah, so you know, when people say, oh, I carry my stress in my shoulders, that's true. Like I constantly have to like remind myself all throughout the day to just roll my shoulders back, take a deep breath, um, for my own sanity, but also too so that I don't put any negative energy out to my client as well.
Well,
So
I really appreciate you mentioning this because, you know, many of us are getting massages on a very regular basis, right? A lot of people in this group probably get massages on a very regular basis.
amazing.
It would be nice if all the massage therapists that we use that they're actually utilizing that, because the truth is that if you have a massage therapist who is coming into the room and bringing a lot of their own stuff into the room, right? That's going to affect your body. It's going to affect how you feel when you walk out, because massage is not just about physical manipulation of your joints and muscles and all that stuff, right? It's like it's
Right.
all the stuff you're talking about. So I think it's super important to try to find them if you're going to have a massage therapist that you're working with on a regular basis. At least introduce, if they're not using oils yet, introduce them. Bring them a few oils. Ask them to use some Aroma Touch on you. Ask them to use some Deep Blue on you. I'm sure they'll appreciate it as well, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the girls that I trade massages with, they all know I come with my little bag and you know, I don't want anything other than doTERRA on my body. My skin is extremely sensitive. doTERRA works for me. So I bring all of my own things with me, and I'm pretty needy on the massage table myself, but that's how it's supposed to be. Like when someone is on your table getting that service, like I mean, I can feel around for like tough muscles, but I need my client to tell me what's going on. And if you like, don't be afraid to share with your client, like, you know, I've had a really crappy day, or I've had a really crappy week, or I've had a loss, or I'm grieving. And, you know, even as a sports therapist, sometimes it's really nice to like turn that down because I want people to feel better physically, but sometimes it's really nice to get in tune emotionally. And I want my clients just like I want myself. Like when I'm getting a massage done, I want to feel like I'm in a safe area to release, you know, like um when you're in tune, you can't help but to like feel the energy moving and to just like the oils are such a tool to help me to get to that point, you know. Breaking the emotional barrier is huge, you know.
I mean, you've that really kind of puts right in the center of the bullseye with essential oils is, I think that for many people walking around on earth today, that there's a barrier that we have between ourselves and those around us, our loved ones, our family, our spouses, our kids, our coworkers. There's an emotional barrier that needs to be broken down so that we can actually be open up, to feel safe enough to open up, just to have a normal, open, honest, transparent conversation with another person. I
Yes,
know this isn't about muscle recovery and massage, but this is one of the most beautiful assistance pieces to essential oils that I have found in my life is
yeah,
when I'm having that kind of day or that kind of week or that kind of month, there's
yeah,
nothing that can help me like essential oils. It's absolutely incredible.
absolutely. Because it keeps you, you know, it keeps you like in your mental capacity. It doesn't put you in a different mental capacity like a pharmaceutical does, and it forces you to be present. We should set up a call for the future and we can talk about that and some grounding, because that's grounding is probably my second favorite topic.
Definitely. We'll definitely do that. Okay, so we talked a little bit about Aroma Touch. Let's jump over to whichever one, either Copaiba or Deep Blue. I know you like both of them mixed together. Let's jump on the Deep Blue. What's going on with the Deep Blue?
All right, so when I decided to take this path, my goal was to work with athletes. Like I've always been like, you know, powerlifting, CrossFit, you know, and I've seen amazing athletes have debilitating injuries. And like so many of us living in 2023, we want instant gratification. And they run to the surgery and then it's never the same. So my goal was to help people recover from daily, but also from injuries, even if it took a little longer, like the natural approach. So physical therapy, massage therapy, chiropractic care, along with the oils. So I also, with where I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina, there's the military base. So I also work with a ton of military people, which I never like thought about that as I was like going into this career, but that has been super rewarding too. So I deal with people beating up their bodies daily, whether it's in the gym or a physical job like the military. So that's where the Deep Blue really comes in. My hands, my elbows, I can only do so much. I also use like gua sha tools, which are like the scraping tools and cupping. And all of those things are so beneficial, but there's only so much that I can like penetrate with the muscles without using Deep Blue as my assistant. So
One of the things I wanted to mention with Deep Blue is I've had probably a few chiropractors over the years mention that one of the first things they noticed with Deep Blue is if they would apply the Deep Blue before adjustments, the adjustments were easier to make.
yes.
If they applied a little bit of Deep Blue near the end, or even if it was just one application, but they started doing 2 applications because they found that the adjustments would hold longer because they use Deep Blue. Can you maybe go into that a little bit? Have you noticed that ability for things to be a little easier for you when you start to use a little bit of that?
Yes, absolutely. And going in with the chiropractor as my personal, like, my husband and my daughter and I typically just like have family dates to the chiropractor. It's just easier that way. And so prior to, like, we get into the office and we lather each other up with a Deep Blue stick. The Deep Blue stick is Deep Blue, Copaiba, and menthol. It's not as much menthol as the Deep Blue rub, but this is perfect to keep in your bag because then you don't have to get it on your hands because the menthol is very powerful in the
Yeah.
rub.
Yeah, my wife Amy actually prefers the stick. She's really enjoying the stick. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I use the sorry, I knocked everything down. I use the rub a lot in my daily practice. Because I mean I've got to immediately wash my hands afterwards anyway. But for my personal day-to-day, I like the stick because it's easy and it's convenient. And then I'm not petting my dogs or picking up my child with menthol on my hands. So as far as the chiropractor adjustments, absolutely. Think of it this way. If your muscles are more supple, which is always the goal, you want your muscles to be as supple as possible. So if your muscles are more supple and you get your spine adjusted, your hips, your shoulders, your neck, then your body is going to move better. You're going to have a better chiropractor adjustment. But then also it is going to hold longer. So let's say your muscles are so tight, you go in, you get adjusted, you get in the car, you leave, you go about your day. And if your muscles are really tight, they're going to pull your spine right back out of alignment. So someone asked me one time, like, what do you recommend, chiropractor or massage? And I'm like, both, like both. And they're like, well, what should I do first? And I'm like, ideally get a massage the day before your adjustment in a perfect world. And then that way your massage is going to loosen up your body, then you're going to get aligned and everything's going to hold better. But in a perfect world, that would be great. But for busy people who don't always have time for that, if you're going to go get your chiropractor adjustment, take your Deep Blue stick and just rub some on your neck and your back and loosen those muscles up. And then some people don't like the chiropractor because it can be painful. Well, it's usually painful because your muscles are so tight. So
Good point.
get a massage. But if not, take your Deep Blue stick with you and just roll everything up in the office.
Good idea. Good idea. So in terms of Copaiba, what's the big hype on Copaiba? I was really excited when doTERRA came out with Copaiba. I use Copaiba not only for physical issues, but also just the nervous system in general. Copaiba
Yeah.
has a multitude. A lot of people still haven't even tried Copaiba, the doTERRA Copaiba. They're used to using Deep Blue. They have frankincense. They don't realize the powerful benefits. Can you share a little bit about Copaiba and what you use it for?
Absolutely. So for me, like the nervous system, you're familiar with fight or flight, okay? So if somebody comes into my office, we'll specifically talk about it in this manner. If someone comes into my office and they're running late, or they've had a crappy day, or they've got to respond, I'm so sorry, I need to respond to text messages while I'm on the table. That's fine. This is your session, but you owe it to yourself to decompress for an hour or 90 minutes.
I can't even imagine having my cell phone with me during a massage. Like that's where I want to get away. For those of you who try to do that, you got to stop it. This is your time. Right?
I had a client, and I'm not knocking her at all because she's a very, very busy lady and she needs to decompress more. On a Zoom call during our session. And it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me, but I wish that it's so hard for people to decompress these days. And I could also like go into the whole fight or flight thing. That could be a whole call in itself. But, when people come in and they're just like, they fought to like make their appointment for whatever reason, everybody's like on high alert, if you will. And so if I feel that and I sense that energy of just, I immediately, the first thing I do is grab my Copaiba and I put it on the bottoms of the feet, to calm the nervous system. But also Copaiba is very, very powerful tool in terms of supporting our bodies for anxiety, fight or flight, a big stress load, So my two favorite spots for Copaiba are the bottoms of your feet, because we absorb everything through the bottom of our feet, but also up and down the spine. If you've ever seen a picture of just like the nervous system laid out, it's mind blowing. And everything comes from the spine. So I would put like a drop on each foot and like 2 or 3 drops up and down the spine. Nothing, no forceful manipulation, just to just say hi to the body and hey, give the body a safe place to relax.
Well, the thing is, one of the things I learned during AromaTouch technique training years ago, which is a technique that we use with doTERRA oils. For those of you who might not know what that is, you can look it up. But soft touch on the spine or any part of the body, even on the arm or the hand, when you do a soft touch versus a heavy touch, you're actually able to interact with the nervous system in ways that if you do it rough, you're just manipulating muscle at that point. Of course, the nervous system is being affected, but it's not giving the body enough chance to really, how do I say it? Those subtle pieces to how the nervous system actually works and responds. It's going to respond differently to soft touch versus a rough, right? So just putting it on the body in that way. So you don't necessarily with Copaiba, the reason I'm saying this is you don't necessarily have to do a big old hard, like rub it in really hard. Just to get it on the spine, get it on the bottoms of the feet, take about 10 to 15 seconds to get it to absorb. That's really it, right? You don't have to like push on it and try to get it in there. It'll happen.
Right. And for anyone comfortable with internal use, Copaiba is amazing for that. Um,
And
stop me, stop me if I have to be careful with my wording. You got me? Okay, so CBD oil was all the rage for so long.
yeah,
And I would never go that route personally, because of sourcing being the number one. Um,
because
Please,
of what? Because of what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
sourcing. Like not knowing where the CBD oil came from. I don't think that I have to say this to anyone in this group, but I'm going to say it anyway. Please never buy CBD oil from a gas station or a vape store, please. So I'm always
Well,
very
it's the
like,
same thing. It's the same thing with essential oils, right? I mean,
yes,
95% plus of every single essential oil that you're going to buy at any retail store you have no idea, and most likely it's a really, really crappy version of an essential oil or not even real at all.
yes. So what I'd like to compare, to keep it on a very basic level for comparison, I tell people Copaiba is going to do everything that CBD oil would do that you hear all the rage about. Um, but it's safe. And yeah, I can get on a kick about CBD oil too, because once you remove the THC out of it, the efficacy is gone. And I had a client that was using like 80 drops a day of CBD oil. And I was mind blown. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that cannot be that cannot be good. And so thankfully she now uses Copaiba. So if you're comfortable with Copaiba, it comes in a soft gel. Very, very, very good for muscle recovery. I take a Copaiba soft gel every night before bed. It sits on my nightstand. For muscle recovery, to slow down my mind, to slow down my nervous system, and to put my body into a relaxing state. Um,
Can I
I
share
could
something
also
here
talk
also?
about
We could
sleep.
also talk about the internal use of Copaiba, which you already have. I will tell you that my preference, and again, this is everybody has their own preference. If you don't like the taste of it, you can do the soft gel like Gray's talking about. I actually like the taste of Copaiba. I like it's very unique. It's
Yeah.
not harsh. I actually will do a couple drops of Copaiba under my tongue in the mornings and in the evenings, and I'll usually pair it with a drop of frankincense as well. And
Yes.
and along the lines, you know, I have a whole presentation, several slides with comparing CBD and Copaiba. And if you're using a high quality, really well sourced CBD oil does have definitely its benefits.
Absolutely.
However, if you were going to do a comparison, um, you're getting more of a direct interaction with those CB2 receptors in the body. And so you're going to, when it comes to stress and the nervous system, as well as neuromuscular discomfort, pain, muscle recovery, you're going to get more of a direct interaction with a pure Copaiba oil with doTERRA than you are most any CBD oil. And the CB2 receptor that we're talking about, without getting too sciencey, that's the primary piece that we're looking for, is that interaction, so that we can reduce that anxious nervous system issue going on, reduce pain based in tense, holding your body tense and dealing with, like, if you hold yourself, and of course, Gray, you could speak to this better than me, but I'll share for a second. If you're constantly stressed out without even knowing it, you're holding your body a certain way. It
Yes.
took me years to realize this. I still have an issue with my shoulders and hunched over,
Yeah.
kind of like I'm hiding out, kind of like I have a low view of myself. That's something I've struggled with for many years. You're going to hold your body in a certain way. You just do. When you start to release some of those issues, and of course use CBD oil, or it's not CBD oil, but Copaiba oil, CBD as well, that can help, a good one. when you start to relax the body and you're not as tense, all of a sudden you experience less discomfort, less pain, less headaches, less stress, less anxiety, all because your body, you just started loosening up a little bit. I mean, that's how simple it is.
Right.
Most of the time, pain, well, I shouldn't say most of the time. Wouldn't you agree that a lot of the time, pain is a result of the lack of ability to move and bend? Tenseness, tightness, would you say?
Absolutely.
So back to Aroma Touch with the cypress, the oil of movement. Jumping onto Deep Blue, we've got this blend of essential oils that's going to help decrease, going to help with the inflammatory response, going to help with that pain. And we're talking Copaiba with the CB2 receptor, the ability to both help with the physical muscle recovery, but also with the nervous system in general. Was there anything else that you wanted to add? I know I interrupted you there for a minute, but I felt like we needed to at least mention the receptor. Is there anything else about Copaiba you wanted to share that I jumped in before you?
I do love to point out the receptors. Copaiba is in the cannabinoid family, but there is never any THC present. And I like to point that out because working with the military, my husband as well, my husband's not military, but he is in a position where they get random drug tests. Copaiba has zero risk of interfering with any kind of drug test because there was never THC that had to be removed. CBD oil, even if it comes from a very reliable source, there's always a slight risk with CBD oil. This is why the military does not recommend it specifically. There's always a slight risk with the with CBD oil that there could be it could interfere with the drug test. And nobody wants to risk losing their career over that. So I say that just because I do have I've had military people use the CBD oil. I mean, of course, they're always a little hesitant at first, which I understand, but I've reassured them, sent them all of the proper.
You're talking about the Copaiba.
Copaiba, yes, like Copaiba. So,
and as we say with most oils, go ahead. We've lost you.
oh,
Yeah. Okay, there we go. I think maybe it was my mic. Go ahead.
But yeah, Copaiba, completely safe. You're not gonna have to worry about a drug test in that manner. I just like to throw that out.
And as we say with most of the oils that we talk about, using essential oils in general, especially when it comes to wanting to deal with chronic discomfort, muscle discomfort, inflammatory response, all the things, muscle recovery, joint pain, you want to be consistent, right? Going to the massage therapist is going to help you on multiple different levels, especially when you're working with massage therapists like Ray, who not only knows what they're doing, but also is very sensitive to the energetic part of what she's providing to you as a practitioner, grounding herself, using essential oils, being attentive to her energy level and what's going on in her life, and also using oils in the session. But when you're at home after the massage, if you're dealing with these issues and they're chronic, be consistent with your oil usage. You can't expect for something to just go away after a couple uses. The massage therapist is not going to completely eliminate, most likely in one session, maybe it happens sometimes, everything going on that you came there for. So be consistent. This is about empowerment. Gray's always going to be there for her patients, for her clients. But when you're at home, that's where the empowerment piece comes. Be consistent with your oils. Copaiba is one of those oils that I consider probably my favorite for nervous system support.
Yes.
But the thing is with it is if you're not doing it a couple times a day, it metabolizes after so many hours in the body. So you're not going to get the effect all day long from one application. So that's why I do it in the mornings and in the evenings. If you're super overwhelmed and and you've got a very active metabolism and you're really active, you'd probably do that a few times, right? Did you want to say something, Greg?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you put that out because a lot of people that, especially people that are like newer to like a natural approach, if you're talking pharmaceuticals versus a natural approach, those pharmaceuticals stay in your body, right? Yeah. Hey, I'm almost done. So the pharmaceuticals stay in your body and you can have lingering effects for a while. But with essential oils, that's not the case. They are metabolized quickly. Of course, you have to have responsible use, but like 1 or 2 drops under the tongue all throughout the day to keep you in out of fight or flight mode, to keep your nervous system calm down. That's okay. And for people who aren't comfortable, I do have people that aren't comfortable with internal use, and I respect that. So take a Copaiba Touch in the roller, roll that on the bottoms of your feet, the back of your neck, the base of your spine. And those things are also going to help too, yes, they're going to help with muscle recovery, but they're also going to help with keeping the nervous system happy, calm, whatever, however you like put it. And then when the nervous system is happy and calm, that's kind of like a piece of the body that once that is addressed, then everything else kind of falls into place.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're going to conclude with that because I know we're out of time. And hopefully this has been helpful for everyone. We will keep this live in the group. But we're talking all things Aroma Touch blend, which is our massage blend. We talked about Deep Blue Rub today, as well as the stick. If you've never tried the stick, try it out. It's pretty amazing because it has Copaiba and then straight Copaiba, both from the topical perspective as well as internally to support the nervous system. So I really appreciate you, Greg, coming on. We could sit here and talk all for hours.
We could.
But she has other appointments today, and I do as well. But I really appreciate y'all joining us. For those of you watching the recording, we will be Grace's going to put a few recipes when she gets a chance later today in the comments. And if you have questions or comments in the group, just be sure to leave them right under the comment and we will respond to them. But I appreciate it. And great, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, thanks for having me, Charlie. I enjoyed it.
All right. See you later.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.